Hello, and welcome to my vlog, where I discuss the most important questions, like how do you get into comic books? Okay, so lots of people, when they want to get into comic books, they get really intimidated by all the continuity and how big the fandom is. So I'm gonna try and help a little, because I know the feeling. Just a couple of years ago, I was wondering the same things exactly. So, just to get this straight, I'm not going to answer here about, recommendations to where to start, but more of general guidelines to how to help you choose what you want to start from. Guideline number 1. Don't go too old. Yes, I know that your first instinct when getting into a new fandom is let's read all the things. And you're thinking, maybe I should start with Action Comic number 1. No, don't do that, please. You see, the comic book fandom, mostly DC and Marvel, because those were the big companies, is really, really old. Over the years, it's evolved. It's an ever-changing medium, and a comic book, let's say, from the 80s, like this one, see, very different from a comic book from the 90s or a comic book from the 2000s. So imagine a comic book from the 40s. Yeah, that's different. And I'm not saying old comic books are bad. I'm saying that they're different, and you wouldn't recommend to somebody that doesn't know a thing about comic books to start from them. Just like you wouldn't recommend a person that doesn't know a thing about Doctor Who to start from The Unearthly Child, I wouldn't recommend a person that has never read a comic book to start from the old comic books. I mean, sure, the old history, it gives so much, and once you know the stuff, it's fun to go back and read it. But that's not where you start. You start from the New Who series, from the 10th Doctor. Some people skipped 10 and 9 and started straight from 11. And you can jump into a new TV series at any time, and you can do the same thing with comic books. So go to something from the last 10, 15 years at most. On to guideline number 2. Don't go too new. And by too new, I mean don't go directly to your latest comic book store and pick up the latest issue. Because, alright, you read the issue and you have nowhere to continue from there. You have to immediately go back. Pick something which is at least a year old. So that way you have places to go to, things to read onwards. That was short. Which brings us to guideline number 3, which is less of a guideline and more of an explanation, like a few definitions you need to know in order to get into the comic book world. First of all, an issue. This is an issue. As you see, it's very short. It comes out once a month, and it's an equivalent to a chapter in a book. Sure, sometimes you have short stories which can be contained in one issue, but normally a story goes on over a couple of issues. So when you're new, just picking up an issue won't give you the whole experience of reading a comic. Like I said, a story runs over a couple of issues, like a story arc. Those story arcs are normally collected in a trade. This is a trade. It's a couple of issues reprinted together and published as a book, basically. So that way you have the whole story already fitted and collected, and you don't have to do the whole work yourself. As a definition you need to know is a title. Title is basically a series, which focuses on specific characters or groups or events within a comic. As comic books constantly change writers and artists, the quality of a title can drastically change, or at least just not fit your personal taste between different issues depending on the writer, which is why you need to know about a run. A run is the amount of time or issues that a specific writer worked on a specific title or character. So that way, if you liked a certain story, you should follow the other things the writer wrote, and not that specific title necessarily, which can, with a different writer, really sink in quality, or just, like I said, not fit your personal taste anymore. And finally, guideline number 4, which is more of a bunch of guidelines all rolled in a big ball of guidey widely stuff. First, listen to recommendations, whether of your friends, of the salesman in the comic book store, or of strangers on the internet. You're more than welcome of sending me a message to ask me for recommendations, so I'll probably make a video about that too. And last, just pick something up. I mean, anything really. If something sounds interesting, just try reading it and see if you like it. And if you didn't like it, that's okay too, because the comic book medium is so big and wide. So people which happen to like the Sandman won't necessarily also like Molly Danger. So that's it for today. I'll see you next time whenever I decide to make up a new video, which could be in a while. So, bye!